Hello and welcome to Behind the Lens, an inside look at what it's like to gather TV news. I'm Stuart Pittman, Chief Photojournalist for QCN Plus, and I'm glad you're here. This week, we're exploring that cockiest of photog, that collector of press passes, that eater of free meals, that guy or gal in your shop who may not own any long pants. That's right. We're talking sports. Since the dawn of television, covering sports is the only thing some photogs want to do. From the thrill of victory to the agony of dragging all that gear around. The access, the action, the hey! No doubt about it. Photogs who specialize in sports are some of the best shooters in the business. Just asking. And joining us to explore this matter are two people who really know the subject, veteran photojournalist Tim Turbo Mulligan and Kevin Pinto.
I don't have a cool name, I guess. Yeah. I'm not even a veteran. I've been doing it for 10 years.
You've been doing it for a long time.
Yeah, 10 years qualifies as veteran.
I don't mean to cast aspersions on your performance.
No, I just don't look as old as you guys. I'm pretty sure I mentioned that in every episode.
Yeah, that's becoming a theme.
You had a kid, so you're going to age real quick.
Yeah, and I know that. And you've met Jenna. Yeah. Anyways,
anyway.
What are we talking about?
What we're talking about is something I know quite a lot about, and I think we can all agree. Expert. And that is professional sports and the coverage thereof. Mm-hmm. And I just got to start with the guy who's dressed like he's about to take the field.
Oh, yeah.
And that's Tim Turbo Mulligan.
Put me in, Coach.
How you doing, man?
I'm good.
It's a big weekend for us here locally because the Carolina Panthers have somehow stumbled into a playoff berth. Is that right? Am I saying that right?
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
Said that accurately.
Yeah, good.
You've covered a lot of sports.
Thank you, Falcons.
Yeah.
Thank you. Woo. So anyway, we have a lot of things happening to cover that big playoff NFL game right here in our town of Charlotte, North Carolina. But we're here to talk about covering all kinds of sports. But let's start with the big thing, and that is, I guess, the biggest thing, and that's the NFL. And we are lucky / cursed enough to have an NFL team here, the Carolina Panthers, in our hometown of Charlotte. And therefore, you guys go and cover the big time, the biggest football show there is, really, all the time. What's that like?
Oh, it's a blast. It's a lot of work. There's a lot that goes into it, but it is so much fun.
On an average year, how many NFL games would you cover?
Well, we kind of split them, right? I mean, we have Mac, and it's between the three of us. So,
yes.
I don't know, we cover each 4 games. It really depends.
Counting preseason.
Yeah, there's preseason too. So, yeah, Tim likes to travel more, so he can have that. I just did Green Bay this year, and that was it. Because I've never been to Green Bay, so that was a kind of a bucket list one for me. And then, yeah, the rest is all you. I don't want
and
to
Mac.
And Mac, yeah, you guys are suckers.
Mac Cruz, who's not with us, is our other big Panthers shooter.
Yeah, he's not dead. He's
not dead. He's just out on assignment, like any good
we have him
photog.
locked up in the back.
Like any good photog, he's out doing something else, complaining about it, and I get that.
But yeah, no, he gets to travel, so and that's a lot more packing involved with all that stuff. So I'm good with not doing that. I'd rather stay here and sleep in my own bed.
That packing, that getting there is a whole nother subject that we're going to get to. Mm-hmm. But it's not just NFL games, and we'll talk about that a little later. It's not just NFL games you guys cover. Kevin, what's the spectrum of sports of athletic events you've gone to, covered, and turned into television?
Yeah, it's funny because I worked at Spectrum, so you said that Spectrum, yeah, in Tampa. But yeah, no, I've been all over the place, right? I worked in Texas, I worked in Florida, I worked in Colorado, so I got to cover, Tampa Bay Rays, the Lightning, and then the Broncos. So yeah, no, it's definitely a wide variety of things. Hockey's my favorite sport, so to be able to cover that anywhere was super fun. Got to cover the Avalanche too. So, and back in, this goes to college, right? There's some pictures in here where I went to App State, so I shot their games for 3 years, and that was just so much fun, right? That was your first experience too. I was up on a scaffolding that we students built, so it was very wobbly, but it was super fun just to be there for your team. And it's different when you're shooting your own team, as you know. It's really difficult to not be a fan. Luckily, I didn't have to.
That's-
I can cheer and let go of the camera because
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
on I was on sticks, but that's not always the case. So you got to keep it under control. But yeah, I've covered a lot.
Well, I wanted to ask about that because Tim, you are a super fan of the Panthers, which is
What gave me away?
I don't know. It's your every birthright to be so. Kevin, your wife's calling me. I'm gonna put her on hold for just a second.
Yes, please.
What is it like? Here, you talk to her. Tim, what is it like to be a big fan of the team that you're covering? Because you can't go out there and act like a fan. You got to be a professional, right?
Right, and you can't. Well, you're not supposed to dress up like I am right now.
Sure.
So that's hard. I want to cheer and I want to clap and I want to scream at the team and all that, but you can't do that. But the one thing that my mentor told me, Jarvis Murphy, who got me into this, he said, when you first get there, walk out on the field and just look around and soak it in.
Yeah.
And realize how blessed you are to be there. And then after about 5 minutes of that, get your game face on and go to work. And so that's what I have to do. But it's still, when there's a big play or something goes right or wrong, inside I'm screaming and hollering at the team, but I can't let that show.
I found that so interesting because there are some news stories you go to where you're emotionally involved because you want the people in trouble to come out okay. But most times you're just a clinician operating your equipment and thinking about everything but what's at stake. What's at stake. Whereas in sports, when you have skin in the game per se, must be a constant struggle between wanting to cheer for the team and watch everything and do your job.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Sounds like no fun.
No.
Yeah, no, it is fun, but it's you can't help but be emotional about it when you care about the team.
Sure.
And
You just gotta get the shot,
Just gotta
though.
hold that in. You got to get the shot.
Yeah, get the shot. Wait for we have to shoot 5 seconds afterwards or so, and then we
Yeah.
can react. So we're delayed in our reactions.
Right.
When we're watching. I remember I shot a game one time. I was shooting a college football game at USF, and App State was playing Penn State, which is a big deal. I know you don't know sports, Stuart. It's a big deal if you play Penn State, right? So I was like, okay, and we went to triple overtime. And while I'm shooting the game with one hand, because I have a smaller camera, I'm watching the other game in another hand. Yes, so because we're in the third overtime. I'm like, oh my god, I gotta watch if we beat Penn State. That's huge.
Oops, missed the shot.
Yeah, no, we ended up losing, and then my reporter came down in the fourth quarter of that game and finished the game for me. Reporters don't do that.
Right.
They never do. They would never. Why would they ever do that? But he was like, no, you go. I know your team's in triple overtime. Like, go watch it. I was like, yes, okay, bye. And I sat in the sideline, so I didn't do my job.
But you achieved some sort of sportscasting nirvana.
It's impressive, though, that
Yeah.
you can watch and shoot at the same time.
I don't know. I honestly don't even remember what happened
Wasn't
that
even
game.
focus.
It probably wasn't. It's probably in selfie mode.
I can't
Yeah, I
even
don't-
microwave food and
Right.
watch TV at the same time correctly.
I've seen you try to walk and talk before, and it's just
Well,
not.
no.
Yeah.
Watch me sit and
The
try
older
to
you
talk.
get, that's harder that is.
That's what I've noticed.
Not calling you old, but
A lot of people outside the business who know you may think you have a way cooler job than you really do. And if you're smart, you don't tell them any different. You just smile and nod while they rave about your really interesting job. I've got to think the Panther, any big game has got to be a real point of interest where people outside the business who know you, who see selfies of you on the sidelines of a big NFL game. That has to be fun, right?
So many people think, we have the coolest job, right? They really do. That's even just in general. I think working for news, they think, it must be a very cool job. Something new every day. Yeah, we get that a lot. But with sports, like that's one of the biggest things where it's like, yeah, it is super fun. There's a lot more that goes into it.
yeah. A lot
But
more
game
than people
day?
realize.
Game day on the field, it's so much fun.
Yeah, it is.
Is it?
It really is.
It
It's
is.
a lot. It's physically a lot of work and it's long hours, but it really is. It's such a rush. And like I was saying earlier, we're blessed because there's
Sure.
people that pay big money just to stand on that field, and we're getting paid to do it.
I
don't take that for granted.
And I recognize that because, as we've alluded to, I'm not a big sports fan, but I spend a lot of time planning and managing the coverage of sports. So I'm like always there, and it really doesn't hold my interest like it does other people. But I recognize that for some people, it's church. It is sacred ground, and I don't mean to make a lot of that because
I get you.
all you've got to do there is be on the sidelines and watch the people. who are, almost having a religious moment at some points in the game.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And it's super loud. It's like the difference. Like I always, people would ask, like, what's the difference of being on the field compared to being in the 300 section? And
Comfort.
it's legit. Yeah. Yeah, you get to sit. Not all the seats are comfortable. But I mean, yeah, we don't have to be elbows to elbows with people. It is very loud down there, right? It's definitely a cool experience. You do see a lot. The game kind of flies by a lot faster.
It does.
I feel like, right?
Super fast.
But it is super loud. I mean, you've been to Seahawks?
Yes.
It's
I went to
legit.
the NFC Championship. You talk about loud.
It's legit. It is loud, right? They always talk about how it's the loudest stadium. I remember the first quarter I covered down there. I couldn't hear the guy talking to me. It's
exactly.
no joke.
Yeah.
Panther games lately have been loud though. The fans have shown up, and I'm sure that makes you.
Which I'm sure Saturday is going to be crazy.
Oh, for sure. But it is pretty cool just to have the fans out there and how loud it is, and you hear everything. You can hear the play calls. Like there's so much going on down there, and then we're trying to sprint back and forth. That's a whole other thing. But yeah.
I covered the Panthers in 2016 when they had some sort of playoff thing. I don't know, 2015, 2016. The big game, I was there. They won. Everyone was excited. And at the end of the game, many of the players ran around the perimeter of the field shaking hands with the crowd, and in doing so, stepped on everyone's equipment that we had pushed back to be out of the way. Cam Newton stepped on me, actually.
Nice.
Greg Olsen stepped on me, too, but it felt a little nicer because he's such a nice guy.
That's true, he is.
But, I mean, I couldn't have told you exactly what was happening at that moment other than the Panthers won. But, man, it was a near religious experience for a lot of the folks there.
Oh, for sure.
And you cannot deny how much fun it is and how lucky or blessed you are to be there, because even if you don't want to be there, that's a hell of a ticket.
Yeah, definitely.
No, for sure. What's the hardest thing about covering a game?
What we're going to talk about later, schlepping in the equipment.
That's the hardest thing? All right.
That's the hardest thing. And then, because we're so rushed at the end of the game, because they're going to bring us a couple of players that we got to quickly set up. And that's sometimes, especially when you're away, because you can't put things on the field and the media room might be, quite a ways away.
Yeah.
You've got to hustle and get out and get it quickly set up. To me, that's the hardest part. The actual game is just, it's a lot of walking and a lot of sprinting sometimes, but that's the
best part. Clearly, the game itself is
the game itself is fun. Now, there's a hard part to that, right? Where we're trying to time, like when they get to the midfield, when do we move to the other side of the field? Because we're gonna miss a play more than likely,
right?
Unless we're sprinting over there, and I don't like to sprint. I
don't run.
Yeah, no, I'll miss a play, and hopefully that play is not the big 50-yard bomb.
Exactly.
And then we got to tell the producer like, oh, I missed that play. But yeah, so you're trying to time out when you're going to go to the other side, and then you got to fight for a position. Am I going to be in the end zone? Am I going to be on the sideline? You're dealing with refs that are in the way. They're doing their job for some reason. You got the guy with the orange hands.
NFL film guys.
NFL film guys.
Step right in front of you.
Yeah. You'll be set. You'll be sitting there for 30 seconds, and then NFL film guys will come up and be like, oh, right before the play starts.
Yep.
And you can't do anything about it because they get to be an extra 3 feet and more further than we do.
And they get the right of way. So wherever they want to be is where they get it.
And then we just make a grunt sound and we go, oh, and then we go somewhere else.
I was on the sidelines of that same game, and clearly not knowing where the hell I was or what was going on, because I just don't follow the sport.
We know when a photog doesn't normally come.
Oh, it's clear.
Right.
Well, this guy did, because I'm sitting there thinking about the snack bar, and suddenly this big hefty guy comes up, grabs my shoulders, and man marches me out of the way like 16 feet. Didn't say a word to me, just removed me from the area. And I quickly realized I had stumbled into an area I wasn't allowed to be. But there was no fill out this form or wait a second, sir. He removed me in such a way. I have never been removed like that.
It's something we just kind of know, right? Like there's the dotted lines. If anyone's watching an NFL game, there's those dotted lines. There's two layers of it.
Yeah.
There's usually a white and a yellow line or something. We can stay behind one of the furthest ones, and then whichever the info is for the NFL film guys and the Fox guys or whoever is covering the game that day.
You mentioned that, and I think it was the same guy frog marked me one time, because when Ryan Khalil retired his last game,
right.
We run out on the field and we're getting video of him. And I was backing up, following him, walking to the tunnel. I didn't realize that I'd stepped too far. And all of a sudden, I got grabbed and frog marched.
Frog march is the correct term.
Okay, you understand. Yeah. Don't cross these lines.
Yeah. I remember looking around to see if anybody noticed. Nobody was
looking. Right. Yeah.
I'm Stuart Pittman with Behind the Lens. If you've enjoyed this episode, there's lots of original content on our Queen City News Plus app. It's free to download. Just search Queen City News Plus on your Roku, Amazon Fire Stick, Apple TV, or Samsung TV. Now let's get back to the episode. Someone comes to you and says, Tim, you're covering the big game this week. It's in Seattle with the Panthers playing whoever plays in Seattle. That sounds like fantastic news to a sports fan, right?
Wow.
Holy cow, I get to go to the big game. Is it someone telling you, hey, congrats, you get to go to the big game? Or is it someone saying, hey, you got a lot of work to do and we're all counting on you. Don't mess up.
Well, I think you know the answer to that. For me, it's like, yes, I won the lottery. But yeah, no, it's a lot of work, but it's fun.
I've got to think so. But it doesn't happen without a lot of work. What are we looking at here? I know because this is my life, watching you load up gear.
What goes into it, Tim? Because we've all seen your giant cart full of stuff. Everyone pokes fun of you for it. What are you doing?
I'm just killing time. No, there's a lot to load up. There's not so much when you travel compared to like BBKL, because BBKL is a much bigger setup, but there's still a lot. You've got to take multiple, like 3 or 4 lights. You've still got to take your big heavy tripod, your headsets. There's a lot.
Some photogs travel light. I've got photojournalists who carry an extra windscreen maybe, and that's about it. You tend to carry an entire Kmart, and I'm so glad you do, because countless times you have saved my bacon by having the diddly dupe that I didn't think about. So what we're looking at
flops too. Yeah, that's not even half of it.
That's not even a start. But
look at that load. He's just going to lunch.
Yeah,
right. Exactly.
He's got strong calves.
But when you travel, you've got to have a little bit of a backup, because if your XLR breaks or this breaks, you're out of luck. You can't go to Walmart and buy a new one. You got to have it there. So we've got to have a backup of most things.
Yeah, Tim won't tell everybody this, right? He has this trash thing, this yellow thing that you saw there.
Yeah.
He is MacGyvered multiple things together. A shelf on a cart. No one does that, Tim.
No one does.
Tim's got all of his stuff labeled.
Like
he knows all of his cords. He's very organized.
And a lot of it's from Goodwill.
Yeah, and he's a bargain shopper. He knows where to find all this stuff. But it's saved our butts multiple times, even traveling. He has found, we call them the coffins, but they're like golf club holders, cases and stuff, hard cases.
But
it's the best thing to travel with.
That begs the question. Most people get annoyed when they have to carry an extra bag through the airport. You roll up with that cart full of cases and things that most people can't even identify when they look at. How much of a pain in the butt is that?
It's a pain, because it's usually around, for me, I don't know about you, but it's about 300 pounds of gear
that you drag through an airport.
That I drag through an airport, yeah. And I'm not a huge, strong guy, so
right.
Yeah, you are.
Come on.
But anyway, come on. But yeah, it's a little bit of a hassle. But
a little bit of a hassle.
It's a lot of a hassle.
That sounds like 8 hours of hard labor just to get to the thing.
It is.
You know what I'm saying?
It is. But it's worth it to me.
Then that's the traveling thing. That's why I hate traveling. Honestly, it's so annoying. Right? You have 3 days and you're traveling there one day. You're still doing stuff when you get there.
Right.
Then you have game day. You do and you're doing this by yourself now. As opposed to a home game, we have 3 or 4 of us photogs.
Sure.
This one's just one photog and usually one reporter, maybe a second, depends on the game. So
a game, yeah.
And where with that coffin itself, it's for me, because I don't travel as heavy as I literally bring the bare minimum, and I'll use every little bit of that. But I bring some extra cords, because cords can fray at any point. But
even the bare minimum is a great deal of crap to drag.
It is, yeah. And it depends on if we're bringing the heavy camera or the smaller camera.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it comes out to, for me, about 160 pounds still.
Wow.
Yeah. It's half what you're carrying.
Paranoid.
But you're using the airport cart. I think you said their little cart that you.
No, I take mine.
Do you?
That cart you saw me unload.
Of course you would.
I won't go anywhere without that thing.
No, I know you brought that cart, but I thought you also had the cart to carry all your cart stuff on.
No.
But I don't bring my cart. I won't bring my cart. Sometimes I will, because mine folds up. You've seen the little red wagon.
You're younger than me.
Just barely. But I make Gabe carry. I think everyone's seen Gabe. He's big and strong. He's fine.
Carlo was pretty strong too.
I know. I'm not fighting Carlo. That's for sure.
My goodness.
But you guys are on a rather tight timetable. You fly into a city, you go to the stadium, you cover the game, you go to a hotel, you you sleep, you get up early, and you fly out. Is that somewhat typical?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes the game we'll get back to we'll go eat, obviously, and then we'll come back and we'll be editing and we'll be up till like midnight, and then we're flying out at 7 o'clock, so we got to be at the airport at 5 o'clock or whatever. So yeah, sometimes it's a real tight turnaround, and there's been some games where you flew in on Saturday and you flew out that night. I mean, Sunday night.
Yeah, and your body's just you're shot. I
You're
mean,
exhausted.
again, doing everything on your own as far as pre and post game, and then during the game. I mean, my shoulders are sore, my neck's sore. You're very sore. It's fun. You don't feel it necessarily during the game as often, but when you get home at night after you can sit and cool down and be in the hotel for a second. It's like I need icy hot, and and it depends on if it's a hot or cold game too. Like you're just
pouring down rain, you're soaking wet.
You have to change your clothes, and it's a whole thing afterwards. Even it takes a second to
when you get home.
Down.
When you get home, do you immediately laminate the press pass and add it to the collection, or do you wait and have some sort of ceremony at the end of the season?
Yeah, Tim.
Well, I have a bin that I just
I bet you do.
put them in. That one day when I retire, I'm gonna like come up with some creative.
I love a press pass. Not like you sports guys do, but I love a press pass.
I haven't collected them all anymore. Like throughout the last couple of years, most of them are they just say Panthers on it, and it's not as special. Or we just have
it's better when it says where you went.
Yeah, where you went. If it depends on where you went. If it's a special one for a special like bowl game or something for college football,
I've got a big pile of press passes just soaked in tears.
Yeah,
I find that very therapeutic sometimes, just to kind of sort through.
Yeah, you do cry a lot,
but I do cry a lot. But anyway, we're gonna let you guys sort through whatever and hopefully not cry as we take a quick break, and we'll be right back with more Behind the Lens. And we're back to Behind the Lens, an inside look at what it's like to gather TV news. This week we're talking sports. We've talked a lot about sports and what it's like to go cover really big games, and it sounds it sounds exhausting, it sounds exciting, but I know personally it can be a little dangerous, can't it?
Oh yeah, definitely. I found that out last year when I was in Atlanta. I got hit by Michael Judon, and it actually knocked me over and broke the camera, and I had to get medical tape and tape it up, and yeah.
I remember the broken camera.
I bet you did.
Was it any nicer getting mildly injured by someone famous than it would be like just some guy on the street?
Oh yeah, of course.
Okay.
I mean, I didn't know who Judon was until then, but
I still don't know.
We're friends now.
I've not been hit really. I think I've been like nudged or something like that. Nothing like taken down off my feet kind of thing.
Right.
I don't think I'm the easiest guy to move either. So, but I've had a high school player, like I've smacked like the back of a high scholl player's head as they were coming by. Like I almost like I got up and you pushed them out of the way essentially. But that's shot. Yeah. getting in my way.
Right.
So yeah, I've never been like tackled or hit or anything like that. Usually I'm I'm agile so I can get out of the way.
Oh yeah.
I got slid into by Luke Kuechly one time.
It
left a big old bruise on my leg, but I didn't care. I like Kuechly.
Will you sign my bruise?
Yeah, I was like, I'm gonna
Did you sign the bruise?
Right. My bruise.
You said you wanted to talk about Daytona. What you said you've covered Daytona. I've covered Daytona a couple times. But you guys travel every year for it.
We had like 3 or 4 years. I can't remember if it's been 3 or 4, but it doesn't matter. It's a week-long event, and to me, I love it because every day is like a 13-hour day, and you're doing a lot.
Stuart loves it too.
Stuart loves it.
Yeah, Stuart's a big fan. He looks forward to it every year.
Are you kidding me?
He lives
He's
for it.
Mr. Daytona.
10 hours in the Florida sun talking about cars going in circles and stuff. That's
left turn.
and stickers and stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah, see, Stuart gets it. But honestly,
and like 20 million live shots.
20 million.
The Daytona 500 actually helped me get my career started. Which was very
to
cool.
blame.
It is because I went out on my own. I was in Fort Myers. I couldn't get into sports. It's hard to get into sports, as you all know. But yeah, no, I went and we followed a NASCAR driver named Ross Chastain. Who's now's a big deal.
Ross.
At that time, not the biggest deal yet, but his family was so nice and they took me in and I recorded audio off of scanners. Did everything on my own. I went and shot and I made a whole package out of it. And it was very, very cool. And then we partied afterwards. I got to party with his family. He crashed going across the line. But that's what got me that job. That package got me a job in Tampa. And here I am.
There you go.
There you are.
Wow.
I don't have any memorable sports experiences, though I've covered lots of games and contests and all that kind of thing. But I understand that it really brings you guys lots of excitement. Tim, what's the coolest thing you've covered in the name of sports?
It's probably the NFC Championship in Seattle. That was years and years ago, but with Jake Delhomme and Steve Smith. That's the one where Steve Smith ran back all the way. That was fun. And that was actually the last year that they allowed more than one person on the field.
Right.
Back then, you'd have 4 or 5 people on the field. So I wasn't actually shooting the game for the game. I was shooting for sports.
Yeah.
I mean, I was shooting for news.
Right.
And so I could shoot whatever I wanted. Didn't have to worry about following the play, and that was kind of fun.
Wow.
I don't know if I've had like the coolest game or anything like that. I've had just a lot. I've covered a lot of bowl games that I enjoyed in Tampa, and then in Buffalo, I got to be on the field. One of these clips has it, but the Buffalo who's running on the field.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of college kids running around, and that was just super fun because there are a lot of college weird traditions. And so that was
familiar.
Kind of cool. I've also just one of my favorite people to cover, though. I got to follow Tiger Woods for a round, and I think that's just really cool. It wasn't his prime by any means.
Sure.
It was one of his many comebacks from a back surgery, but to follow Tiger Woods for a day was pretty cool. By the way, shooting golf, my least favorite thing.
Oh, yeah.
It's hard. It's very hard to follow that little ball.
And you're walking the whole time.
Yeah, you are.
I'm not
with
walking.
gear.
I'm not walking. I'll be in the clubhouse.
I've covered Tiger
the
Woods.
profile.
It's cool. It's kind of surreal to be like, that's Tiger Woods.
And everyone's following him. Like the crowd is much bigger for Mr. Tiger.
Oh, yeah.
Well, even though I think I may know the answer to the question, what's the bucket list sporting event you haven't covered, the end-all, be-all thing you would love to be at? What is that?
For me, it would be a Panther Super Bowl.
Wow.
Which could happen this year.
Yeah. Why not?
I mean, why not? Anything can happen.
I would love to shoot at Madison Square Garden.
Oh, yeah.
Just being a Rangers fan, a Knicks fan, being there as a fan, MSG is like legit. It's so much fun. To shoot at MSG would be my dream.
Excellent.
Stanley Cup final for that, preferably. But.
Right. Well,
I know you know what a Stanley Cup is, but
in this line of work, you never know what may happen. Thanks, guys.
Who's Stanley?
Thanks, guys. This has been a fascinating look at what it's like to cover TV sports locally, and you guys have been really good at letting me know what it is we're talking about.
Can I throw the ball at you again?
You can throw the ball at me. We'll see you next time. Who knows what we'll talk about. Woohoo!
Queen City News Plus. Just search Queen City News on your smart TV's app store.